After nearly 3 decades covering the Buffalo Bills, this guy knows what he's talking about. Welcome to SalSpeak, the place to be for hard-hitting analysis from Sal Maiorana of the Democrat and Chronicle.
Hello everyone and welcome to another edition of SalSpeak on Facebook Live, democratandchronicle.com. We hope that you are here joining us. We hope that you're going to tell your friends right now that you see mine and Leo's faces that we are live on the Democrat and Chronicle's Facebook page. Again, Leo Roth is with me after a 1-week hiatus from SalSpeak. I hope you enjoyed your hockey tournament.
I had important things to do, Sal.
Yes, you did.
Youth hockey tournament in Detroit. So
yeah, okay.
Sorry.
We excused Leo last week, but he's back this week for a big night, or a big week, I should say. New England coming to town, and this is always a huge game, obviously for the Bills. It always means a little bit more to the Bills than the Patriots, and that's certainly the case this week. Leo, let's look back though to last week, because I think what happened last week with Miami really plays into what's going to take place Sunday afternoon at New Era Field. Leo, they go down to Miami. They're 4-2. They've won 4 in a row. Things are going well, and just played lousy, especially on defense, and lost a game to a team that I really think, if the Bills think they're a playoff team, Leo, they got to beat the Miami Dolphins. I don't care that it was down there, and they were up 11 points in the third quarter, and they did not get that game to the barn. Very disappointing day for the Bills.
Well, the great irony there, Sal, is that the Bills got a taste of their own medicine, run and stop the run, and boy, they did neither. Well. And the running part of it, you know, you could say, okay, well, LaShawn McCoy was just that he probably shouldn't have played. The hamstring, that became a topic of discussion. Mike Gillislee couldn't pick up any slack. The line didn't have a great day. Okay, but to not stop the run, this Rex Ryan defense, what it's built on, and now, of course, everyone's yelling at Marcel Darius because he wasn't out there because of his hamstring and his drug suspension and on and on. It was a bad day, and Rex on Monday, I was over at the stadium. He was just, he couldn't wait to stop talking about that game.
I know, absolutely.
And in fact, he said, he goes, as soon as I'm done here, I got one radio thing to done, and I'm not talking about that game again, because it was a clunker. And as you said, really disappointing, because you go down there and beat that division opponent.
Yeah.
Now they're what, 1-2 in the division?
They're 1-2, and they're about to be 1-3, because I don't see any way the Bills beat the Patriots this week. And Leo, that's why that game in Miami was so important. They, you know, if they win that, they're 5-2, and we know what their schedule looks like. They've got these 3 brutal games in a row here. Home to New England, they have to go to Seattle for a Monday night game, and then to Cincinnati after their bye week to play a pretty good Bengals team that right now is kind of floundering, but they've had a really tough schedule. That's a good team.
It's a good team,
that Buffalo
and
has
they're
to go play, and they'll be at home. So if you win the Miami game, Leo, you're 5-2.
Yeah.
And if you lose these next 3, which I firmly believe they will, then they're 5-5, and they go into the final stretch, I think, with some, you know, not breathing room, obviously, but they've got a better chance to maybe squeeze in. Now you've lost to Miami. You're 1-3 in the AFC. You're about to go 1-4 in the AFC, the conference, when you lose to New England Sunday. They're in a bad spot, Leo. That was a really pivotal game for the Bills, and now they've got to steal one of these coming up to get back, maybe back on track to where we thought they might be.
Well, I agree with everything you said, Sal. After they had gotten to after they had won the 4 in a row, got to 4-2, and I did my my Pollyanna look at hey, they're going to make the playoffs. I had them winning that Miami game. They had to go. I got them. They have to sweeping Miami. That's what I had them doing. Yeah. That Miami game down there, I had them winning. That was the game, because I'm looking at the other ones and saying, Seattle's tough, Cincy's tough, Oakland on the road tough, Pittsburgh at home tough. So that was a game that gets them the 10th win. I don't know where that other. I could look at everything again and still agree that okay, they're going to beat some of these other teams. Once the schedule gets a little, you know, the Clevelands of the world, and they get the Jets back in here. But I'm not looking. I don't know where that 10th win's going to be now.
All right. The problem, Leo, too, they've created for themselves. Yeah, they're 3-0 against the NFC West, which is all fine.
Well and good.
But in the conference, like we said, losing this week against New England, they'll be 1-4. At that point, Leo, with tiebreakers being so important for the wild card, because they're not going to win the division, it's going to be a wild card situation. That AFC record is going to haunt them, and you can make a compelling case that if they lose to the Patriots, they're 1-4 in the conference, they might have to almost run the table at least in the AFC games, because that'll get them 8 wins in the conference. That should give them 10 wins overall, I think it would be. 10?
Yeah.
Right? I think they'd have to win 6 to get to 10. In tiebreaker scenario, they need the conference record.
Yeah.
It's going to be awful tough to do that for the Bills.
It's real tough, and you're exactly right. We can talk about tiebreakers now because those are going to be the key, and they're playing some of these teams that they're going to be into that conversation with. It's probably the Bengals, probably the
Bengals,
Raiders.
Steelers are both.
Well, you're all
yes. Not sure who's going to win the division.
They're up and in, but
they're going to be there.
Roethlisberger's going to be back, and I think they're going to be fine. Yeah, and
Oakland will be in the mix.
Oakland is playing
Oakland's
well.
5-2 right now.
Oakland's a very good team.
Yeah,
and
they're playing
we kind of
well.
knew that coming in, and so I guess. But everything, boy, what's the best medicine, Sal? They beat Tom Brady and the Patriots on Sunday, and you already have them losing. So.
Yeah, I have them losing, and I have them losing pretty big, to be quite honest with you. All right, well, so we've looked back at the Miami debacle. Let's look at, you mentioned very briefly, Marcell Dareus. It was funny, on Monday I'm doing my follow stuff, and I'm looking back at my Twitter feed, and people were actually blaming Marcell Dareus for losing that game because he wasn't out there.
I would vent on Marcell Dareus as well. After watching them get gashed for, what was it,
256
yards.
He wasn't out there because of obviously the suspension that he had, and then he missed the 3 games with the hamstring injury.
Yeah.
If he had been out there, it probably would have been a different situation. They wouldn't have run for 256. This is the first time, though, in the 7 games.
I'm not so sure. How great a shape is Marcell Dareus?
I think he would have made a difference in this particular game. They were gashing him right up the middle, Leo.
Yeah.
I think this
and the missed tackles, though. It wasn't a great game for the linebackers.
No, it wasn't. But this is the first game they actually really, truly missed Marcell Dareus. Now, this week, we're going to segue right into the injuries. He came out yesterday afternoon and basically boasted that he's going to be playing in the game. He's ready to go. He'll be out there. Now, we've heard this before. He said he was ready after the suspension and went out on Friday before the game against the Rams and got hurt. If they get him back, Leo, and they get Shaq Lawson for the 2nd week now, he's got his feet wet, the defense will certainly be better. Is it going to be enough to stop the Patriots? I doubt it. But at least they're going to get 2 key guys back and more ingrained in the defense. But on the offensive side, Leo, the injury list, it's almost frightening to look at what it's like right now. LaShawn McCoy, again, is going to be a game-time decision, it looks like. Robert Woods might fall in the same category, too. You still don't have Sammy Watkins. Marquise Goodwin is not going to play. He's in concussion protocol. Leo, I don't know how they're going to move the ball on this team. I really don't see how they can move the ball against the Patriots.
Even if all those, and the whole point here is even if all those guys were healthy, they'd be a vast underdog. How are they going to move the ball?
True.
How are they going to be? But this is I'm just trying to put some context to what we're going to be seeing on Sunday. Tyrod Taylor against Tom Brady, and the quarterback comparisons are always natural in a football game. And wow, what a contrast! Look at the weapons on Brady's side. Not only that he's
the greatest of all time.
He's Tom terrific, but when he's got those tight ends, Gronkowski and Bennett and Edelman running around and all the other little and then a big back like Blunt, he's got his full weaponry there. Gronk's going to be healthy too, and I know in the first game when they played, Brady wasn't there, but Gronk was only half himself. He's fully back. It's not. It could get really, really ugly. The Bills have a hard time covering one tight end. Now they got to cover 2.
Yeah. and like you said, Amendola's there.
Yeah.
Edelman's back healthy again. Chris Hogan's
got a lot of having a good year, as we knew he would.
I mean, that first game in New England, Leo, they had really none of that working for them. Jacoby Brissett could not play. He was terrible.
And they also played. I mean, that's the other thing. They were facing. And again, nothing taken away from the Bills. You can only play who's in front of you, and it was a good win, a very good win for Buffalo. But you can't lose sight of the fact that they played. They didn't play the backup. They played the backup to the backup.
Yeah. And they played New England's preseason offense, basically.
So it's so hard to put that in. How good was Buffalo? Since then, and Brady's been back, and we're looking at the numbers earlier. I mean, the man's thrown for over 1,000 yards already in 3 games, and Tyrod Taylor's got 1,307. It's amazing what Brady and Belichick and that whole crew gets on going. And I think there's a lot to learn from a guy like Brady offensively, and the way they attack teams, and the way they are the way they're fine and patient with taking the short passes, the outs, and then setting up the bigger plays. Brady's a master at it. He's incredible. I do feel bad for Tyrod Taylor. He's slowly, every week, I can hear the rumblings. People are saying, what are we looking at? And
I think I'm one of the chief guys doing that.
You were in that boat after the Miami game, and I don't blame you, because you were saying here, geez, not only was it a game that was winnable, and then they just don't have anything at the end to close that lead out, or to get it back when they have to, and they just go feebly into the night in Miami. It's kind of like saying, when is going to be that big breakout for Tyrod Taylor? We've seen him do amazing things. I think we all kind of like the guy and like what he brings to the table. But we've also, on the flip side, we've seen the dual threat quarterbacks that just don't make it in this league. And furthermore, just to conclude, Sal, is that now it's David against Goliath, and David doesn't have many rocks in his slingshot.
He doesn't.
I feel bad for him. How's he going to look at this receiving core?
It's preseason.
You got to buy a program, folks, because you're not going to know who's out there.
They've got.
I know I'm going to need a roster to see who's out there. It's amazing.
One of our colleagues at the Buffalo News, did a really good little breakdown of Tyrod Taylor in the fourth quarter since he became starting quarterback. 21 games he's played as the Bills starter, and he's 2-7 in the games where the Bills were within one possession in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
He won the Tennessee game, and they beat Houston at the Ralph last year. Those were the 2 wins. In those 9 situations, those 9 games where he was 2-7, his completion percentage is 45.2. He's 3 touchdowns. I think it's 3 picks, 2 touchdowns.
One of the things for Tyrod coming into this season was on one of the check boxes, lead fourth quarter comebacks.
Doug Whaley said that. He said he expects more of that this year. He needs to be better in that situation, and he hasn't been. I think he's had the opportunity against the Jets was there, the Ravens. That was a one-possession game. What's the other one? There's another one they were trailing. Well, even this one.
Well, even this last game, it was a chance where, all right, go down and do it. And I don't even know if it was a 3-and-out or what, but it wasn't very good. Tyrod, and again, I guess in those situations, that's where quarterbacks make their name. You think of all the greats that were able to lead teams back in those at crunch time. And it's not even the comebacks, it's the closing out of games being, with clock management and all that. And Tyrod's got so much to prove. Now, everyone's going to say, oh, the contract and all that. Well, it's a good contract for Buffalo. It's a good contract for Tyrod.
Right now,
they can get out of it. It's fine.
This year, it's fine.
Yeah. So, I mean, if over these next 9 games, if it's looking like, wow, maybe we don't want to pick up the rest of this, the Bills have left themselves an out.
Yeah. Well,
I hope it doesn't come to that. This is going to be. Because we'll be looking at back to square one.
They've left themselves
developing Cardale Jones, maybe.
They've left themselves an out, but where do they go? Where would they go from here if Tyrod is not their quarterback? They need this guy to be the quarterback. He needs to figure it out in these next 9 games and prove he's the franchise guy moving forward. Or like you said, they're right back to square one, and I seriously doubt that Cardale Jones is ready next year to play in the NFL too. Let's get to a few questions here, Leo. Mostly it's comments. Penny Kennedy says, go Patriots. Susan Murphy-Russell says, boo-hoo Bills, of course. Justin Hausner wants to ask, do you honestly think they gave the Bills a chance? Now, we'll get to that in our last segment because I'm saying they have no chance to win this game. We will get to that question when we talk about it. Here's Ken Capuano. This game is easy. If they happen to win, the playoff drought ends. If they lose, it's mediocrity all over, spinning your wheels, and another year without the playoffs. He's right.
I agree with him.
He's right. I mean, this segment of the schedule right now is going to determine what if they have a chance to make the playoffs. These next 3 games, I think, if they lose them all, they're going to be 4-6, and they're going to be in a world of hurt because 2 of those losses will have been conference losses. They're going to be in big trouble. They're lining up. They're lining up for my 8-8 prediction. If they lose these next
I don't want
to
just say, I don't want to go into games and say the Bills have no chance. I've watched enough football and enough sports to know that you never do know exactly. And I'd feel much better if they had a 100% LaShawn McCoy, because makes that offense go. When it was humming during that 4-game win streak, he was the guy. And if he's got the nag, he says it's not like last year. He says it's not that deep pain, but I know when you're in a game and it's not right.
Well, like last week.
Yeah, and he comes out. They don't have. I don't I'm not looking at any of these backups to make a big difference.
This
is where I wish Carlos Williams was on this roster right now because I think maybe you could road that guy a little bit. Now, I'm not really.
Mike Gillis, doesn't do it for you?
I don't see him just, we're the drop off is too dramatic, I think, and it happens a lot.
What irritates me, Leo, and I want to get your opinion on this, playing LaShawn McCoy last week. Well, you weren't here. Jeff and I talked about it on the podcast, and I was firmly in the camp of they're not going to play this guy this week. Why would they play him? Let him get healthy. They put him out there, Leo, and he got hurt in the third quarter, had to leave the game. And now you don't know if he set himself back for several weeks. I think it's going to be a week-to-week thing now, whereas if he had just sat out last week, he said it himself. It wasn't as serious as last year's. Maybe that 1 week would have made the difference, and maybe he's healthy for the Patriots game, but that's not the case now.
He'll benefit, again, we don't know how it's going to be going into this game. Again, he didn't practice yesterday, he probably won't practice today.
He's not practicing right now.
And this is the thing. If this game's a wash, at least he's got the bye. He's going to have some time.
Well, no, they got Seattle.
Seattle. But he's going to have some time in there to maybe for the second half a little bit. Maybe he'll get back. But I tell you what, if people have, a lot of people out there have had hamstring pulls, the weekend warriors. We know what it's like.
They're irritating.
It can take a long, long time. And there's not, even though these guys have the best of the best to get them healthy, it still doesn't much matter. And it takes, look at Darius. Of course, he's a different type of athlete, but he's going on what? He's going on 3 weeks,
3 weeks now. It'll be 3 weeks.
And he says he's going to play. I hope. What if he sets himself back?
I know. Well, we'll see.
But we'll see. But this is going to be one of those games because of the Bills' offensive injury situation that it's going to be hard to judge them.
You want to talk about Brady real quick? I wrote a story about him today.
Yeah.
DemocratandChronicle.com. Hope you read it. You go through the numbers.
Wait a minute. So let me just remind everybody that back in 2001, I sat next to you and you said, "Who is this guy? He stinks."
We all said that about Tom Brady.
In
2001.
Yeah.
Sure we did. We didn't know who he was.
I know, but you gave him like no chance.
Well, I did. Okay, my bad on Tom Brady. In 2001. By 2002, I was on board, though, after he won a World Series, a World Championship.
What are the chances? Sixth round pick just
amazing.
to do what he has done.
I did that story on him in the paper today, and you look at the numbers, Leo. It's astonishing what this guy has done. Do you realize that in their next 4 games, they're going to win 4 games somewhere in this season, he'll be the all-time leader in quarterback victories, regular season and postseason.
Yeah.
He's still 11 behind Manning and Favre for regular season, but he's got 22 postseason wins, which bumps him up the list pretty good. So it's just amazing. 60,000 passing yards. I think he's 4th all-time in completions, 4th all-time in passer rating, and the most impressive thing, 13 AFC East titles, 10 championship game appearances, and then the 4 Super Bowl wins. Plus, I think he lost 2 Super Bowls, right? 2 or 3.
The dominance of this division is an amazing thing.
It's incredible.
That's where him and Belichick have been just.
I'm not sure the
incredible.
NFL has ever seen something quite like this. Dallas in the 60s to the 80s, they went to the playoffs 20 years in a row, and they won 4 Super Bowls during that time, or 3.
What's happening in the AFC East is historic.
It's amazing,
and it's Buffalo's luck, right? To be in there's 2 wins every year, 2 games that they're not. They have there's no question if they were in some other division during this 0-16 drought, they would have made the playoffs somewhere along the way.
They would have been a wild card somewhere along the way.
Absolutely, because they've had those 9 and 7 years. They could have been those 10 and 6s,
right, or
maybe better even. And I have fun with my Patriots friends when they, I like to needle them about Brady and Deflategate and all that funny business. But I got the utmost respect for Brady. He's great. I love watching him. I think he's a master at what he does. Him and Peyton Manning, very similar in how they just control. They have complete command of what's going on.
Right.
And I think, was it Lorenzo Alexander was, I think, yesterday talking about how you just, scary. He walks up to the line. Well, you had him in your story.
What you're doing.
He's telling you what you're going to do, and then you're going, gee, do we still do that? Because he knows what we're doing.
It's just amazing.
That's just what an incredible foot. And he is a football junkie. He's just like Belichick. He's got that mind. They study. They love it, and he does. I genuinely look at athletes and see really not so much about their abilities. We can all see that, but I always look at athletes and when I talk to them and see just how passionate they are. And he's a guy that just loves it. He will play forever.
Yeah.
And
he said that too. He wants to play forever.
Yeah, he'll be well into his 40s, I believe. And it's the thing about, sports at the professional level. It's not just that it's a hard game. It takes a toll on a body, the family life, all that stuff. Yeah, they're paid and all that good stuff. It takes a lot, Sal, to have the desire to keep playing, especially when they do make the money they do today and they can walk away and be fine. Yeah. There's no motivation there to make more money. So I really admire the athletes that put in all these years and just as long as they can keep doing it and they have that love, that passion is what impresses me most about someone like Tom Brady.
He is the all-time competitor. You got to give him that. You got to give him credit for that. Let's see. Couple questions here. Miami game was our O-line. Sorry, but give Brady the line playing like that and the outcome would be similar. I disagree with that.
I disagree.
I think Tom Brady would find a way, even with that offensive line performance last week by the Bills, he'd have found a way to win that game.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so I disagree with that too.
He would, to the reader's question, he just gets the ball out when he has to whom he has to. It would be that quick. Yeah. That's the way his brain works. Where a guy like Tyrod Taylor, when it's all falling apart around you, hey, Jim Kelly was great at it. Jim Kelly didn't always have the greatest line. They make do with what they have, and they do it really well.
Let's see. Scott Zietz wants to ask, why doesn't Taylor run more? Well, I think he runs enough. I mean, I've been on record. Yeah. I don't want to see him on designed runs because that's how you get your quarterback killed. I'm all for Tyrod Taylor scrambling when he's in trouble because then he can make things happen. I don't like the designed runs. What do you think about that?
Absolutely not, unless I
mean, won a game maybe to surprise him. Okay,
maybe a third down, maybe a goal line, but not as a diet of them. No way.
No.
And I see what he's asking because his legs are a bigger asset most of the time than his arm. I think. I do like when they move him out, when a moving pocket, because his presence in the pocket hasn't been that impressive. I'm also I guess Tyrod is I guess the biggest thing is his accuracy. He's just kind of there's plays that got to be made.
Yeah, people look at his numbers sometimes. No interceptions and his completion percentage is high. The problem, Leo, is he makes throws sometimes that don't allow the receiver to make the play. And a perfect example was last week. The only pass that Reggie Bush caught in the game, it converted a third down in the red zone, 13-yard gain, I think it was, but it was wide open. Bush was coming across wide open. He had to go to the ground to make the catch, and that was the end of the play. If Tyrod throws that in a place where he can catch it and run, Bush might have had a chance to score. They ended up scoring on the drive anyways, but he might have taken it in right there.
Yeah.
Those are the kind of things that Tyrod struggles with. Yeah, the pass was complete, but it could have been so much more if he had made a good throw.
Right. You put passes that allow for
run
after catch, or only the receiver has a chance at it, and that's accuracy, and that's a good quarterback thinking a step ahead. I think he's this is the other area that we have to see over the next 9. Yeah. Where is he in this regard? And it's because it is becoming to the point where people are open. When is it okay to ask that Tyrod Taylor's not our quarterback? I mean, it's. Obviously, I think we're at that point. He needs, and again, it's going to be so hard to judge him without with his best people around him. But yet, I want to see something. I want to see a little bit more.
He's got to make the receivers look
good. If he's the franchise guy, then you got to make do.
They've said it forever. Good quarterbacks make the receivers look good. Julio Jones needs Matt Ryan throwing the ball, right? AJ Green needs Andy Dalton throwing the ball well. They make great catches, they make big plays, but the quarterback makes the receivers. It really isn't the other way around generally.
I don't want you've mentioned about Tyrod before too, is that he doesn't throw picks, and that's important. You don't want to kill your team, but
he never takes chances though.
He never takes chances. He never throws it in those tight spaces enough, or he never. It's always he'll throw it out of bounds more now, or he'll eat it, or he'll run with it, or it's such a he's managing it. Maybe he's over-managing it.
Yeah, he kind of is.
And because the great ones, too, aren't afraid to throw it. They don't care if they get 3 picks because they know they're going to come back.
Everyone mocks Fitz for his interceptions, but Fitz also makes some big plays.
Makes big plays.
He's a gunslinger, and sometimes that works out to the best of the team situation. All right, Richard Schauzel wants to say, is there any chance these millionaires with guaranteed dollars sit out on purpose? I'm sure he's talking about Darius. No, I really don't think NFL players sit out on purpose because they have a $100 million contract. I think genuinely these guys are competitors and they want to play.
Absolutely.
And it does kill them when they're hurt. We just get aggravated in Darius's situation because it really shouldn't have come to that. He shouldn't have been, suspended, which means he probably wouldn't have come back out of shape and hurt his hamstring. He probably would have been in there for all the games.
I think compared to the Bills of the of the 90s, Sal, I think it's changed a little bit in about playing hurt.
Right.
It's always been the code is that you play.
Right.
I think a little bit.
Well, I think
it's like moving a little bit because certainly with concussions.
Medically, I think that's true. I think what he's saying is that, hey, I got $100 million contract. I'm not going to play.
Yeah.
I don't think that's the case.
I don't think that is, but I think there's. I get what he's saying a little bit where there's this, and I do hunch a little bit of that where guys are more like they do think of themselves, especially in the free agency era. They do think of themselves as sometimes as independent contractors, and hey, I'm not gonna risk it. And believe me, depending on what the team's record is and where the September compared to December, those guys might not play. And
that's human nature.
It's human nature. I'm not saying it's but back in the day, I think guys just played. I mean, it was a different time.
All right, a couple quick ones, and then we'll end it here. Jenna Lee, Menzie Ashley. Why didn't we get Spiller back when he was released? Reggie Bush, she's basically giving a frown face too. CJ Spiller, I'm done with that. I've seen that. Don't need to have CJ Spiller back.
I think I'm with you.
Yeah,
I think I've
been there, done that. I'm done.
But I agree with that too. I have no need for Reggie Bush either. Right?
Exactly. If we're adding David Miller, if we're adding practice squad guys to the active roster and waiver wire guys are leading wide receivers and staff, isn't it time to make a trade for someone established? Alshon Jeffrey. It's going to be awful tough to trade for Alshon Jeffrey. He's a free agent at the end of the season. He's making pretty good money, and it will cost the Bills probably a high draft pick. I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that. I mean, again, the Bills aren't going to wave the white flag here and quit on the season. If they were 5-2 and 6-2 after this weekend, and they really know that they've got a great chance for the playoffs, maybe you do that. But I don't know. They're in a situation now where they're going to be very tenuous. I'm not sure that's worth it.
These are rental, a trade like that would be tantamount to getting a rental player for the rest of the year, not knowing what the contract is. Listen, the NFL is just not like baseball and the NHL. You just can't plug guys.
The rosters are too big, and the salary cap is too restrictive to make trades work. It's a very difficult thing.
And to get a guy in and have him learn your system, you're better off promoting the practice squad guy who's been around. And it is what, unfortunately, this is the nature of the beast. There's just not enough, there's just not enough players out there to help any team when injuries hit.
No, there's not.
Nobody's got the great depth. A lot of teams have good depth at some key spots. But for the most part, Sal, when things start falling apart,
it's tough in the
football. Most teams get taken down.
Yeah, they do. All right, you want to wrap it up?
Yeah.
All right, good. We've gone on here for a while today. Hope people really
looking forward to Sunday.
This.
It's going to be.
Remember, please follow SalSpeak on iTunes for the audio podcast of this, and the Facebook Live version will be livingondemocratandchronicle.com. So if your friends missed the show, point them in our direction, and obviously, of course, you follow Leo and I on democratandchronicle.com and in the newspaper. We still have a newspaper.
Yes,
I hope
Sal.
people are reading that with their hands. So please do that. We'd really appreciate it. And again, thank you for being here today. We'll see you next time at 12:30 Thursday. We'll be talking about the Seattle Seahawks after the Bills get pounded by the Patriots this week. Hate to leave it on that note, but let's be real here, folks. All right, folks, take care. Have a great day.